starting soon. Let's go. Baby, what's happening, everybody? Happy Saturday evening, happy Sunday, wherever you are. Hope things are well. And we're at it again. Welcome to the Guitar Angle, episode 2, with me, Mr. Sorenzo. All right, shall we get started? All right, let me just quickly check. How is the bit rates going? How's the quality of the stream? Is the stream good? Is the quality good? Do we like it? It looks alright. Alright, let's get started. Alright, we've got really good items actually on the docket here. We're going to do a few things. Number one, we're going to talk about this one-of-a-kind 1913 Beatles guitar that is going on sale. We're going to talk about that. We're going to have a chat about the guitar market. Then we're going to talk about the Neural DSP's Mini Cortex. As you guys know, you got the Quad Cortex, which has taken the guitar market and all the artists by like a storm. Everybody's on guitar on the Neural DSP's Quad Cortex. Then we're going to talk about Yngwie Malmsteen. Yes, he opened his mouth again. That was cruel. That wasn't nice. But he said stuff. And we're going to talk about a couple of things he said. And then we're going to go about, doing a bit of a practice on memorizing the fretboard and do some other guitar talks. How does that sound? If we're all happy, let us get started. Just one quick thing before we go on. I feel like the stream is a little blurry, but if it's not, then that's okay. You guys let me know. Okay, so let us get started, shall we? Let us get started. We'll go to the next cam. Not this one. This one. All right. So, what do we have here? A rare and culturally critical guitar directly tied to the end of the Beatles and Cream. A 1913 Gibson acoustic played and owned by George Harrison and Eric Clapton has been listed on Reverb. Yeah. Which is crazy. And by the way, for those who don't know, Reverb is this online website where you initially started as selling secondhand stuff, if I'm not wrong, by Chicago Music Exchange. But then everybody just jumped onto it. It's probably the biggest secondhand or third-hand, like used gear website in the world. And one of the biggest one for any kind, really. Like, even like actual retailers jumped on it. So, this historically significant guitar was featured on the final albums by the Beatles and Cream and helped launch the guitarist's solo career. And that's the guitar. Right. So, basically, it's like this crazy looking acoustic guitar. Have a look at that. Like, they don't produce many guitars like this. And you can see, like, some of the features that is crazy about it is that, for example, the bottom horn is not curved. It's, like, straight and then kind of curved and angled up. You have the top bit sort of, like, spiraled in. And then, obviously, the bridge is pretty crazy for an acoustic guitar, too. You usually don't get these bridges anymore. But, yeah, that's the wild-looking guitar. And the guitar can be seen in Eric Clapton's documentary Life in 12 Bars, with Harrison known to have played it during writing of Badge. He'd later lift the song's bridge section for Here Comes the Sun, which was released the following year. The guitar then has links to the final records from both legendary bands. Isn't it crazy? Like, a guitar being, kept so well, And it's just like it's a guitar thing too, right? Like 1913 is like World War One, if I'm not wrong. Like 1943 was World War Two. Yeah, 1914, 1913. That's like right before the First World War, if I'm not mistaken. And the guitar is like kept in a playable condition, I would suspect. This is crazy, right? Now, here's the thing about like guitar markets right now, right? And I don't know what the price tag on this is. What's the price tag here? Just a bit below $1 million? Let us see. Beatles fan are looking fork out roughly about $1 million for the guitar. Yeah. So $1 million for an acoustic guitar from 1913, which is, I don't know if that's something I would pay for. But this is the thing, like, yeah, there we go, $950,000 basically, right? Here's the thing about a guitar like this, generally like a expensive guitar, right? You usually have to understand that guitars follow the law of diminishing returns when it comes to like a price of a guitar and how good it is. Guitars usually follow the law of diminishing returns, which means that as the guitar gets more and more expensive, the difference between the dollar value doesn't necessarily translate in like increasing quality. Like, I'll give you an example. The difference in quality between a $500 guitar and a $1,500 guitar is much more in quality. So the difference between them is much more than, like, say, an $8,000 guitar versus a $9,000 guitar. The dollar value difference is still $9,000, but the difference is in quality is not even comparable, because after a certain point, like $4,000, $3,000 maybe, it's subjective, like $5,000 max. Like at that point, after that point, it's like, you know, whatever happens, it's just like an expensive guitar now. You don't get that much difference in quality, if that makes sense, right? And so that's like a very important consideration. So you're not really buying this for the sake of quality. What you're buying this for is for the story. When a guitar becomes that expensive, it's almost always about the story. It doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the guitar or whatever not, right? And so then if you think about it, I'm like, who would pay $1 million for an acoustic guitar? Somebody very wealthy, obviously, but someone who is inspired and likes, you know, Harrison and Eric Clapton. And who's that person? It's usually a boomer, somebody from like 50, 60 years of age or older, right? I've never, like, I don't know Beatles. Like, I've heard of their names. I've listened to a couple of the songs, but I haven't spent that much time listening to the Beatles. It's not a young person's guitar. So as time goes by, like after a certain point, I have a feeling that this guitar should actually lose value. Like a generation later on, nobody cares about Eric Clapton or Harrison. So if somebody buys this, I don't think it's a good investment at all. I'm just saying, right? Because a generation later, nobody cares about Eric Clapton. Like my generation, when we get old, like get to our 60s and all that, it'll be like Metallica's guitars or like Trivium's guitars or Bullet for My Valentine's guitars. Do you know what I mean? Like that'll be ours. Like the kind of music that we grew up with, which was like metalcore and thrash and not really new metal, maybe new metal, yeah. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like after a certain point, people stop to care. So there you have it. Some wealthy person may buy this for about $1 million. Also, second thing to keep in mind, and this is something that I'm experiencing in myself. I know a lot of people experience it. The secondhand guitar market right now is cold. It's not moving at all. Like the sellers seem to be stuck with the price tag of 2023 onwards, but the buyers seem to be very stuck with the price tag of like 2015. Right? And it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because after like during COVID, everybody like didn't have anything to do. There was lockdowns all over the world. The worst one in Melbourne, Australia, compared to everywhere else. Australia was like the heavy-handed country. It's kind of a socialist country, but the government is very strong, and so they just locked everything down. But also America, England, Canada, the West went under lockdown, and so nobody had anything to do. People were stuck at home, so they just bought guitars. People started playing the guitars, and using that opportunity, big companies like Fender, especially Fender, but also like Gibson and PRS, started to like pump guitars in the market. And so they basically oversaturated the market, right? And then come out of COVID lockdowns, many people realize, oh, it's not their thing, or they don't want to spend the time and money to practice, and learn the guitar properly. And so they started selling things out. And so now you have a scenario where the buyers are saturated, like anybody who wanted to buy has already bought not that long ago. And there's a lot of sellers trying to get rid of guitars. And that kind of explains part of the reason why everything is so like cold in the secondhand guitar market right now. So if you want to buy something to keep, like not to resell, but to keep, now it's a good time to like, bargain a price down. You definitely can. Because that's a good time. And if you want to sell, maybe not a best time to sell right now. If you like don't have to sell, if it's not a must, if it's not a financial thing, because I put some of my guitars for sale, but it's not a must. It's not a financial necessity. So I'm not in a rush. I got a price. I'm just going to keep my price there. I'm not going to, bargain it down. And if it has to wait a couple of years before I can sell them, so be it. Those guitars are in like perfect condition. So that I think would be a better way to go about it. Because if you push to sell right now, you're going to lose money. A lot of money, right? Like you're going to have to sell, even if you got a secondhand guitar in a perfect condition, that is almost like literally brand new, not a dent on it, you bought it a month ago, you probably can't sell it less than 70% of its retail price right now. I'm not exaggerating. Yeah. Not exaggerating. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's the $1 million acoustic guitar for you. Would you buy it? Like if you have $1 million, would you actually buy this guitar? I wouldn't. No way in hell, man. And this is the thing, right? I'm not a biggest fan of acoustic guitars anyways. I don't like them. Like I'm an electric guitar guy. But yeah, not a chance in hell to buy $1 million guitar here. But anyways, let's move on. Let us move on and talk about Neural DSP. Neural DSP. So, for those who don't know, Neural DSP has this it's like a multi-effect pedal and processor called the Quad Cortex. Let me actually find this for you. And most people know what the Quad Cortex is. There we go. It's this thing. Right? And it's like a floorboard amp modeler, right? And it has crazy modelers, everything in there. The sound is so accurate. And like big boys use it, like people like John Petrucci, people like Tosin Abasi, Polini, like all the big head guitar players. I love John Mayer. A lot of people started using it because it sounds so identical, like it's identical to like an actual gear, but it's compact. It's easy to travel with, it's accurate, and from day to day, it doesn't change sound. Because if you have like actual like amps and you travel with those, depending on the temperature, the moisture, and everything else, the sound output changes a little bit. Whereas this gives you like absolute stability, right? So it's more compact, it does the same job, it does more, like you got more options, I guess, and it doesn't change from a day to another. So it's like everybody's onboarding on it, like all the big heads onboarding on it, and the price tag on it is pretty hefty too. How much is it these days, I wonder? There we go. Sweetwater. Protected by, yeah, $1,800 for an effect modeler floorboard, which is crazy. Like, $1,800 is expensive for a multi-effects pedal. Yeah. So anyways, the reason I brought this up is because, Neural DSP, the company that created Quad Cortex, came with a new product-ish, not really new, but it's the Nano Cortex, which is like the more compact pedal, which is like a multi-effect. Again, it's like the mini version of the Quad Cortex in a way, right? And now it's like, it's probably fair to say, yeah, let's read this out. It's probably fair to say that Neural DSP would have liked the launch of the Nano Cortex to be a bit better than it did. Ooh, what happened? On the back of a teasing marketing campaign months in the making, there was huge excitement and expectation for Neural's second ever hardware product. After all, the Quad Cortex had quite literally reshaped the landscape of modern guitar, like I told you guys, with its easy usability, impressive sonic fidelity, and thriving online community. When NC finally dropped in September, the backlash was swift as it was brutal. Despite being very well reviewed, there was much grumbling from Neural's fan base. Felt like the Nano Cortex had not lived up to the expectations. Why? I wonder. People hadn't seen the funny side of the teaser videos, so had been surprised by the backlash. For what's worth, I thought a lot about da-da-da. You can argue, perhaps, that Neural's deliberately mysterious marketing strategy, combined with the hype surrounding the Quad, created a void into which fans poured their hopes. Right, okay, so they were disappointed. There's nothing wrong with the product. It's just that they did a funny marketing campaign and fans didn't like it. All right, so what has changed in the Nano Cortex? Adds 9 new guitar drive pedals, bunch of fuzz, blues driver, tube screamer, and all that. Yeah. So really, it's just a more compact version, but now it has more stuff in from the version 1, really, right? And how much is the Nano Cortex, I wonder? Sweetwater. So I have to put the link up there in my Nano Cortex. Okay, so Nano Cortex is $550, the old one. I think that's version 1, if I'm not mistaken. Right. $550. Okay. And how much is the new one? Does it say here? I don't think it says it here. Dollar. No. It doesn't say. Yeah, okay. But around $550 for the first one, so I would suspect, $600-ish for the second, like version 2. But yeah, which is crazy. Which is crazy. It's still very expensive. But yeah. Anyways, here we are. One thing I love about this is the thing, and I was thinking about this a lot lately. For those who don't know, I started to listen to Extreme's latest album, 6, that came out late 2023. And it's sort of like a thing. It had a resurgence in me, I guess. So I went on and started to listen to that record again. And one thing I really love about Nuno Bettencourt's guitar tone is that it's very minimalistic. So even on the record, like the song they've got, Thicker Than Blood, in that song, if you listen to the guitar sound, you can actually hear the gonks and the blisters and whatever, the movement of the hand. You can actually hear all of that. It's not an over-processed sound. And because it's not over processed, even when you're listening to it as a record and you know that it's a pre-recorded song, right? It feels like very close to a live performance, as close as it gets. And so I love that about it. You know, it felt like authentic. It felt like the sound was in my head. And I appreciate like all the work that an artist has to put in to put a live show, you know, all the pedals and everything else. But if you look at like Nuno's rig, he has like this rat pedal and then like minimal effects, like a multi-effect thingy that he got there. I would buy this quad cortex thingy, not the Nano. I would buy the quad cortex eventually at some point when it's not that expensive. but yeah, I don't know. I don't know about like using it too often or too much. Like I'd probably put in like one or two effects in there just so that I'm not over processing the sound of my guitar. But I know there's like a lot of tone chases around here. Like some of you guys love chasing tone and playing around with these things, which is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. But I know that there's a lot of people there that do this and like they spend hours playing around with these settings to finally get the exact thing that they want. And also understand, like a lot of times you don't know the exact thing that you want. You just sort of goof around until you're done goofing around, and you finally find something that is a bit acceptable. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, there we go. So we got the Nano Cortex version 2 coming out. Now let's go to the wild card, Yngwie Malmsteen. Let's go to Yngwie Malmsteen, and I'm not a fan. I know there's a lot of fans of Yngwie Malmsteen, but I'm not a fan of Yngwie Malmsteen. All right, so let me turn that on. What do we got here? I'm just like, what? This guy's crazy. What's up with that look? Anyways, so let's talk about Yngwie. And I'm going to play a little bit of a background music just to make it easier on me. He's something. He's something else. All right, so Mr. Malmsteen explains what people misunderstand about his career. Speaks on effects he had on Fender Strat. In fact, he invented the Fender Strat, if you ask him. He invented Fender Strat, he evolved it, brought it to where it is right now. So the Strat was out as you could get. That's another thing that people forget. Was the Strat out, or was it actually in? Like Jimi Hendrix? Like, yeah, no, it wasn't as out, sir. No. But anyways, Yngwie Malmsteen. Actually, the music is a little loud. I tried to help myself, but I think I did it too much. Is it better now? Anyone there in the chat can confirm? Yeah, okay. So, Mr. Malmsteen said that his solo works were never the product of a band, and that rock musicians had been steering clear of the Fender Strat before he made it popular again. He made it popular, by the way. The Swedish-born guitar prodigy is known for being very particular about his craft, never letting outside voices influence or dilute his vision. Yeah, well, if I was an egomaniac too, I wouldn't listen to anything either. This is not some Kobe Bryant stuff, folks. Anyways, this philosophy served him well, yada yada. I never had other people write my songs. The bottom line is that it's been a straight line. I always had a very clear idea what I wanted. I can respect that. As a writer, guitar player, everything, I always ruled with an iron hand. Oh, I believe that. This approach yielded great results. His debut album, Rising Force, was recorded with the Japanese market in mind. 85's Marching Out was intended for his US debut. It was never a band. Oh, I know that. Yngwie Malmsteen, it was it was all about him. It was never a band, of course. And the Strat was as out as you get. Yeah, let's talk about this. The success of Yngwie's early works made the Fender Strat his weapon of choice. All the more popular. Back then, Yngwie noted the Strat was going out of vogue with the rock crowd and was instead only favored by blues musicians. That is not true. That's just not true, by the way. Sorry. And I understand a lot of Yngwie fans are out there, but that's just blatantly not true, right? The Strat was about as out as you could get. That's another thing that people forget. In the 80s, the effing Fender Strat, oh man, like, dude. It's like having an old car and someone saying, why are you driving that old piece of S, man? If you didn't have effing Floyd Rose, it was like, what the hell are you doing? Unless you were like a blues player. No, it's just blatantly not true. Yes, there was ups and downs in popularities of the Strat. But you guys have to understand, like, Fender Strat is probably safe to say that is the most popular shape of a body of a guitar since it was created. It's always been, right? And it makes perfect sense. It looks fantastic. It's ergonomic-ish. It's well balanced. It's not impossible to build. Do you know what I mean? So like Les Paul, Strat shape, and Tele shape, they've always been there. Nothing has changed in that. It's actually like, it's the V shape, the Explorer, the shapes like that are, what do you call? Like that are, you know, in and out. Like that they go in and out of fashion. Strat is a very conservative choice. So when somebody goes and says, oh, my, like, you know, I made Strat popular again, I'm like, man, come on. Like, really? Like, you know, you're high in the clouds. I appreciate that. And you need that attitude, right? You need that narcissistic, sort of like self-grandiose attitude to be able to do a lot of difficult things, because you need that extreme belief in yourself and like yourself enough to, you know, shut down all the negative talk and go and do what the thing you need to do. But Strat is actually a conservative choice. If he did that with a V guitar, or some weird BC Rich shape, or some Explorer shape, something like that, then I'm like, yeah, you did. Strat is the most conservative choice. This is how conservative it is. Like even now, like we talked about secondhand markets not that long ago. You know what's the most? This is like a funny saying, right? You know what's the second most popular guitar shape when it comes to selling guitars? The most popular guitar shape is a Fender Strat. The second most popular guitar shape is a second-hand Fender Strat. It's as popular as it gets. I'm sorry. It's like, but yeah, Yngwie's always been like this, man. I'll tell you guys another in Yngwie. I'm thinking. Let me stop the music. So check this out. So he had this interview with Rick Beato. And Rick had him in his studio for about like a couple of hours to do an interview with him, right? And this is something Yngwie Malmsteen said in the middle. And so listen to it first, and then let's talk about it.
You also said that if you get a nick...
Hold on, sorry. Let me give you a bit more volume. All right, can you guys hear it now?
You also said that if you get a nick in your pick, you immediately throw it away.
Yes, and that's because I do a lot of these things. It's not sweep picking.
Okay, explain that when you say it's not sweep picking.
It's alternate, down, up, down. It's depending, you know, because...
It's not. That was...
Like this.
Right.
You know.
Go back again.
That's because I do a lot of these things.
That's sweep picking. The second bit was not.
It's not sweep picking, folks.
Okay, explain that.
Oh, God, this guy.
It's alternate, down, up, down. It's depending, you know, because it's not like this.
Right.
You know, and all of this comes from me always playing with my ears. Like I heard a violin. That's not a guitar lick.
Right.
You know, and I just heard it from either Bach or Vivaldi or Paganini or something. I heard that, and I said, I'm not doing it on a guitar.
You also said that if you get a nick.
That's the thing. First of all, if you get a nick in your guitar pick, you can still down and up pick, right? Like, you guys understand that, right? So the first thing that he said, like, if you get a nick because I do this, irrespective of whether you do sweep picking or quick down and up picking, first of all, even if there is a nick in your guitar pick, you can still do it because you use the other side of the pick. Do you know what I mean? This guy is something else. Like this Mr. Malmsteen is really something else, right? So that's like a BS point. But also, he's blending, like he's blurring the lines. Yes, he's doing quick down picks and up picks, but he's like doing sweep stuff and then selling it as it's not. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this guy. it's just Yngwie being Yngwie. Like, why? Anyways. I don't know, man, and I know he has a lot of fans. Like, this is the thing. If you go on and do a Reddit on Yngwie Malmsteen, in terms of it, this is serious. Like, I'm not cracking jokes anymore. If you go and do a Reddit or some online forum on Yngwie Malmsteen, the experience that people had with him live, like, for example, they buy VIP tickets to hang out with him in a lounge after the concert or before or after parties and things of that nature. What they say is pretty alarming, not gonna lie. The guy is, and as good of he's a great musician. There is no question about it. His music is not my cup of tea, but I have to admit, he's a fantastic musician, very skilled in his craft. No question about it, right? And he has made his impact on the music world and electric guitar. All granted. If you haven't read those forums, just have a quick read. And it seems like a lot of people have experienced the same issue. For example, when they go and ask him to sign something for him, and he doesn't even look at him in the eye. Or they buy VIP tickets to his lounge or whatever not, and he doesn't even talk to anybody. He just sits there, does his thing. He doesn't even, doesn't want to talk, and then leaves after 10 minutes in a thing that is supposed to be for an hour. Yeah. It's pretty horrifying. But yeah, allegedly, these are all alleged stuff that I read on online forum. I can't verify the correctness of it, but there seems to be a lot of that online. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to a little bit of guitar practice, because I wanted to do this. Let me just pick up a guitar. Bear with me a second, and I'm going to pick up my Squier Telecaster, despite the fact that I've got other guitars. The reason I'm going to pick up the Squier is because it's the only guitar that is in standard tuning out of all the guitars that you see. There's only one that is in standard tuning. All right, so let me pick up the guitar. And here we are. Tell you guys something funny about the Squier models, right? So you have when it comes to these Telecasters, you have two types of Squiers. You have the Affinity, which is the sort of like the cheaper model. But then you have the 50s vibe, which has a different kind of neck. It's thicker and it's heavier, and the body's actually made out of pine and has a synthetic bone nut, which is crazy. And this guitar does not sound bad at all. All right, let me plug this in. And then we can see if we can have some fun together. Wrong one. Here we go. But yeah, it's made out of pine. A Squier made out of pine. It's like, this is really as close as an old school Telecaster as gets, for something that is made in the 50s. You know what I mean? Like an affordable model. And I bought this secondhand, like I told you guys, and it goes back to the first point I made at the beginning of the stream about the guitar market. I bought this secondhand, which didn't even have a scratch on it. The guy got it as a gift and didn't want it anymore, and he didn't even play it, played 3-4 times. It was in literally brand new condition. fresh strings, fresh everything, not a single scratch. There wasn't even like a fingerprint on it either. And I bought it for almost half the price. Retail price. Yeah. So, anyways, so let me just put this on. Give me 1 second. Just gonna put this on, plug my guitar, tune my guitar, because I haven't played with this for a few days. And then we're gonna do a bit of a guitar practice together. And what we're gonna do, for those who haven't seen the first episode, because this is the second episode, right? We had the first episode and we got the second episode. We are going to do a bit of an exercise on memorizing the notes on the fretboard. Right? Now, memorizing a note on the fretboard is a pretty good exercise to do, because you don't need like cues or whatever not to know the mapping of your notes and know where things are, right? So that's like a good thing about it. Now, let me just go here. Let me quickly tune this, guys. Bear with me 1 second. Kinda in tune already. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it didn't go out of tune. And I kept it in a cover. I need to buy more covers. Like, I don't have enough covers for my guitar. I think I need to buy like a couple of more covers just to keep everything, covered. Because I don't want to just leave things out there, especially like season changes and everything else. Yeah, all right, so. Let me just increase this a little bit. You guys can hear the guitar? Can I get a nod? Can I get a nod? Yes. Good. Okay. Yeah, I can see this picking. All right, cool. So, let's do this. I'm going to share the screen here. Can you guys see the screen? I hope you can. All right, I'm just going to go here. Boom. Just like that. Look at that. My gosh. Okay. So, we are going to use this trainer. And by the way, this is not mine. This website is called guitarorb.com. And it just has a really good practice exercise on it in terms of like, what note is where and memorizing fretboard and all that. And it has a practice mode and a game mode. So if you use the game mode, it'll get you to like do it with a timer, if that makes sense, and gives you a scoreboard. But I don't want to do that. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to do that. And I can't play much, by the way, guys. I got a screwed up left arm. My left arm is not working as expected. But, yeah, let's go. So what do we have here? All right, so let's start. I'm going to play some background music. All right. So, what is the 5th fret of your 3rd string? What is it? What is this note? Have a think. I know what it is. It's pretty easy. Okay, so think of it like this. I like to strategize it like this when I'm memorizing it. You know how you tune your guitar? You go like the 5th fret of your 6 is the note A, the next string. 5th fret of the string A is D. And then the 4th fret of your 3rd string is the next string, which is the B, right? Which is here. So the 5th fret is literally a fret after, and so after B is what note? The C. So the 5th fret of your 3rd string is the C. Easy. The 3rd fret of your 4th string. This is pretty easy. You should know the first progression, like the first thing, pretty easily. What is it, guys? Did I hear an F? Good. The 11th fret of your G string. No pun intended. The 11th fret of the G string. What is it, folks? So we know that the 12th fret is the octave, so it's the same note. So that same note, a fret before that. So what's the fret before G? F sharp, G flat? Yes, good. And then what's the fret before that? It's obviously then just the F. So the 10th fret of your third string is F. Okay, this is pretty easy too. 7th fret of your E string. Here. What is it? What is it? Did I hear a B? Yes. You can use the same strategy I taught you earlier, right? So if you know that the 5th fret is the next string, so 5th fret of your 6th string is your 5th string's note, that is A. 2 frets after is B. Because you got A sharp, B. So here we go. Good. What is the 8th fret of your 5th string, folks? What's the 8th fret of your 5th string? Tell me. I like the tune, by the way. What a nice music. Yeah. So, the 8th fret of your 5th string here, otherwise known as this, is the note F. So, when it gets to somewhere like middle like that, like 8th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret, that's probably the most difficult to know for a lot of people. But it's one easy way to go about it. I mean, you can always count the notes and go down. But what I like to do about these ones when I was memorizing them, and I'm still working on it, is that I would subtract that number by 5. Because I know on my 5th string, if I go to the 5th fret, I'm on the note D, which is my open string, 4th string, right? Right? So wherever it is, the 8th fret, I subtract that by 5, and whatever number that is left is the number of the fret on my D string, and I know that number, that note already. So I know that the 3rd fret on my 4th string is the note F. 8 minus 5 is 3, right? So I know that the 8th... See that? Same notes. So I know that the 8th fret is the note F. We can do the exact same thing, by the way, on the 8th fret of the 4th string. Right? You can subtract that literally by 5 and then have a look and see what is that 3rd fret on your G string there. And that is A sharp. Pretty easy. Where are we? A sharp. Okay. 5th fret of the 3rd string. What's the 5th fret of your 3rd string? Fifth fret of the 3rd string. Which is equal to the 1st fret of your 2nd string, by the way. Do we know? And this one, by the way, the calculation is the same. The only difference is that from going to string to if you want to go from your G string to your B string, right? It's going to be on your 4th fret. So on my 3rd string, the 4th fret is B. So again, 5 minus 4 is 1. What's the 1st fret on my B string? That is C. Third fret on the D string, you should know this quickly, that's an F. 5th fret of your third string. I think we just talked about it, didn't we? Yeah, we did just talk about it. What is the 11th fret of your D string? Again, and I talked about the strategy earlier. 1 fret before D. So what's like a D flat or C sharp? 7th fret of the 5th string. Did I hear an E? 12th fret of the 1st string. Did I also hear an E? That's a yes. 3rd fret of the 4th string. Quick. F. Is that your answer? Good. Yes, it is. 11th fret on the E string. What is E flat? D sharp. 5th fret of your 3rd string equals to the 1st fret of your 2nd string. What is the fret after B? Did I hear a C? Yes, we know it's a C because the difference between the B and the C is just 1 fret. So you have that with E and F, and then you have that with B and C, just 1 fret. 12th fret of the E string is an E, octave. 4th fret of the 5th string is a C sharp, because we know from the C major chord, that's one way to memorize it. We know that the 3rd fret of your 5th string is a C. So fret after is a C sharp or a D flat. What is the 9th fret of your E string? Yeah, I like this one a lot. There's a couple of ways that you can memorize this, right? You can do the subtract kind of a method, that strategy. So you can go and say, all right, I know that if I take 5 frets out of my 6th string, for example, right? If I press the 5th fret on the 6th string, it's the 5th string's note, which is A. If I do the 4th fret of the 5th string, right, it is C sharp. So now, if I put the 5 and 4 together, that's like 9 frets down. So it's like a same kind of a concept. So that's one way to go. So you can say, all right, this is C sharp for sure. One way is that on higher strings, you can play around like that. A better way, a quicker way to go about it, obviously, is to remember exactly like, the 9th fret of your E string is C sharp. And that's a good one to remember because you have 2 strings, the high and low E string. But if that doesn't work, you can always, you always know that 7th fret on your E string is the note B. The one after is C, the one after is C sharp. So you can play around with all of that. What is the, hold on, the music got a little too loud again. What is the, 14th fret of your D string? So 14 minus 12, that's 2. So really, it's the same note as the 2nd fret on your D string. What's after D? D sharp. What's after that? E? Oh yeah. By the way, one thing to remember as well, and this is like a good one. Check this out. So, you guys know power chords, right? So this is all power chords, right? If you do a 3-string power chord starting from your 6th string, so let's just say I'm going to go 1st fret on the 6th string, 3rd fret of the 5th string, and the 3rd fret of my 4th string. So that. The 6th and 4th string are the same notes. It's just an octave higher, which in this case is F. So you know that whatever note that you are on your 6th string, 2 frets higher is exactly the same note on your D string. So if the question here was, I'll just go back to that screen again. It was not the new one, but it was, what is the 14th fret right, of your D string. And I'm like, the 14th fret of the D string, if you go 2 frets lower, is the 12th fret of your E string, which is E. So that's another way to remember that. So any note that you have on your D string is 2 frets higher than the same sort of like a note that you have on your E string. Just go 2 frets higher, it's the same note, is what I was trying to say. Okay. So, let us go to the next. What is the 9th fret of your E string? We talked about this, folks. C sharp? Did I hear C sharp? I hope so. 3rd fret of your 3rd string. A sharp? Did I hear an A sharp? Good. 4th fret of your 2nd string. We know the 3rd fret is D, so we know the one after is a D sharp. What's the 8th fret of your 2nd string? Folks, what is the 8th fret of your 2nd string right here? What is it? Do you want to use the subtract method? So we know that the 5th fret of the 2nd string is E already. Right? Now, if I go 8 minus 5 is 3. So what's the 3rd fret on your E string? That's a G. Oh my. Okay. So then the 8th fret here is a G. What's the 8th fret of your E string? Quick. This is pretty easy. Did I hear a B? Oh shit. Hold on. C. Why did I say B? My bad. I stressed myself out. My bad. Sorry, guys. So, I'll do it my own freaking method. I shouldn't have missed that one. My bad. Okay, so we know the 5th fret is A. We know the 7th is the B, not the 8th. And we know the 8 is the C. Sorry, folks. I apologize. I stressed myself out. What is the 8th fret of your 5th string? What is the 8th fret of your B string? Did I hear an F? See, like, now I got like one wrong that I knew. Like, I just made a mistake, like, in my mind. And now I'm like nervous. Once you make that like one mistake publicly, that's when you go get nervous. No matter how good you are at it. Yeah. It's not a hard exercise. So, what's the 4th fret of your D string? F sharp? Is that what we believe? Good. What is the 11th fret of your G string? 12th fret is the same note. It's an octave higher. Come fret back. What's G flat? F sharp? Good. And last one, before we take a quick break, or not at all, but just leave it there. Last one is the 8th fret of your 2nd string. 8 minus 5 is 3. What's the 3rd fret of your E string? That's a G. We made it. Yeah. Sorry, folks. I can't play guitar for you today. Like, my whole arm is really destroyed. I actually went to my second doctor appointment on Friday. And I have to do a neural conductance study for my left arm. So I have a ulnar nerve contraptment and very likely a median nerve contraptment. Carpal tunnel syndrome kind of stuff. So we're going to have to do a conductance study to see whether surgery is needed or not. I hope not. The doctor said it's not that likely, but I'm sort of taking it very, very slow with my left arm. I'm hardly playing with my left arm right now. It's mostly right hand exercises, and it's a good thing, right? It's a good excuse because we don't do it often. Like when we play the guitar, we just want to play the guitar. You don't do like galloping exercises. You know what I mean? And like things of that nature. Anything with your right hand, not just that. But yeah, I had to take it slow. So sorry, no guitar playing for me for at least a few days. And then we'll take it from there. But yeah, man, so great to see everybody. I think we did good today. We talked about, a rare guitar for Beatles, 1913 Gibson acoustic. We talked about that, and we talked about the guitar market. We talked about the Nano Cortex, Neural DSP's second version of the compact quad Cortex. We talked about Yngwie Malmsteen, that gem. And we did some training here, which is good. I think we've already achieved a lot today. So that's a good thing. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you have a super good Saturday evening, super good Sunday morning, wherever you are in the world. Play guitar, have fun. Life's short. We only get one life, man. Like I was thinking about it. We only get one chance in life. And just do what you love. Especially if you're working already and the work that you do is not what you love. It's not what you're passionate about. Guitar is what you're passionate about. Just spend as much as time you can on this because life is short. We're not going to get these seconds back. Talk guitar. Have a chat about guitar. Play guitar. Practice guitar. Perform guitar. Just guitar. And love life and enjoy it, I guess, right? That's the way to go. Guys, take care of yourself. Thanks so much. Great to see you. And I'll see you in the next Guitar Angle live stream. So I'll be live streaming this at least once or twice a week. And join me, ask me questions, come and hang out, have fun, do these exercises and practices with me. So we not only follow guitar news and guitar rumor and chat and hang out, we also get better at guitar. That's the whole point. I'll see you later.